Hello, parents and students. I just wanted to provide another example of rounding using our place value understanding. So this is on lesson 7 homework, and we're going to look at problem number 3, which asks us to work with the number 8 and 984 thousandths. So we're asking to round that number to the nearest hundredths, tenths, ones, and tens. I'm going to go ahead and do the hundredths and the tens just to show an example of working with decimal places versus whole number places, especially if you don't have anything in one of the places you're trying to round to. So first, let's do hundredths. So if we were to write 8 and 984 thousandths with the most hundredths we can, it would be 898 hundredths, and then we have 4 thousandths that we can't use to make another hundredth. Then if we're looking at tens, we can't make any tens. So it would be 0 tens, 8 ones, 9 tenths, 8 hundredths, 4 thousandths. So we can't use any of these to make a 10. So with hundredths, we'll start with what are our options? Well, looking at hundredths, we can make 898 hundredths. Which equals 8.98. And then our other option would be one up from that, which would be 899 hundredths, which equals 8.99. Now the midpoint has been giving a lot of students trouble. So I always go back to our roots here, which was we started learning it on a horizontal number line so we could really look at decomposing some of the smaller units to be able to find a midpoint. So our options are we want to find the midpoint between 8 and 98 hundredths and 8 and 99 hundredths. And so right now we struggle with finding anything between 98 hundredths and 99 hundredths. So if we decompose it into 980 thousandths and 990 thousandths, now we can look and say, well, what's between 980 thousandths and 990 thousandths, which would be 985 thousandths, and then we can put that 8. So it's 8 and 985 thousandths is our midpoint. And I think that's the step that a lot of students are struggling with. So if they put it on a horizontal number line, they can just place a 0 to the right until they have the same amount of decimal places. And also it allows them to find a midpoint between these two numbers. All right, now we just plot our original number, 8 and 984 thousandths. And we can see that it's closer to 898 hundredths, which comes out to be 8.98. So 8 and 984 thousandths rounded to the nearest hundredth would be 8 and 98 hundredths. All right, now on to the tens. If we look at the tens that we can make, we can't make any. So our options are 0 tens, which equals 0, and 110, which equals 10. So we would want to find the midpoint between that. That one you could go to a horizontal number line, or you could kind of figure it out in your head. What's between 0 and 10 would be 5. Now we have to make sure that we understand it's 5 ones, okay, which equals 5. Then we would plot our original number of 8 and 984 thousandths on the number line. It's pretty close to 10. So then we would round up to 10. So 8 and 984 thousandths rounded to the nearest 10 would be 10. And then we can always go back to the original number and double check. So if we do our hundredths, we look at the hundredths place as an 8. Go to the right, it's a 4, which tells us we would round off or round down, which would be 8 and 98 hundredths, which is what we got down here. So if we were doing tens, we would go to the tens place. There's a 0 there, technically. We look to the right, it's an 8, so we would round this up to a 1 and have to have a 0 as a placeholder. So it would be 10.000 or just 10, which is what we came up with on our vertical number line. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.